Welcome to another episode of A New Day, A New Life with your host, yours truly, Dr. Jamal Monka. And we are here today talking about diabetes. Today I have a special treat for you. And I want to thank you guys who've been supporting the show and everybody that's, just been amazed by the content. And I have to say to you, it's going to get much better as we highlight what we've been doing in the realm of nutrition and natural healing. Today we're going to be focusing on diabetes. And so I want to highlight a speech made by Dr. Perry Gomez in 2012. According to the then Minister of Health, Dr. Perry Gomez, diabetes is now considered a national epidemic in the Bahamas and is the 5th leading cause of death in all age groups. According to Minister of Health, Dr. Perry Gomez, the disease is responsible for 29.2 deaths per 100,000 people each year. And Dr. Gomez said the problem deserves our special attention if we were to bring the numbers down to a more manageable level. So I think it's very important. That was in 2002. And so it begs the reason, or it behooves me to highlight this point, that we are in a position of down spiral. It has gotten much worse, I dare say, than 2012. Now, this is no surprise. We have known, those of us in the health field, that diabetes is a problem because we have seen many patients, many clients and many family members and friends dying and stricken by this deadly disease. I call it deadly because diabetes is a complex disease that affects the body much different than other disease. Many persons struggling with diabetes with early symptoms, chronic symptoms, or sustained symptoms experience a wide range of differentiation in symptoms. We have from extremities, diabetic neuropathy that affects the extremities, including the phallus or the penis, erectile dysfunction. We have eyes. We have a number of issues from weakness and weight loss affected with diabetes mellitus. And it's a posing problem, it's an ever-vexing problem in the Bahamas. Us at New Life, Natural, led by myself, we are focusing on prevention and how we can prevent persons from getting diabetes in the first place. And for those that already have diabetes, how can we stem the progression? How can we educate and inoculate persons with information so that they can begin the process of reversing this deadly disease? When we look at the culture and the tradition of the Bahamas, right now we are about coming up into our summer season where we engage in regattas and we engage in a culture of eating rich soul foods. And these foods, as traditionally known, includes flour cake, which consists of margarine, oils that is hydrogenated and saturated and trans fat. And we have all of these heavy starch food, but it's a sedentary lifestyle and a lifestyle of partying with alcohol, all these different booze, over partying, and persons are not resting, they're not taking care of their health. And now we have a mushroom cloud, a tsunami of this toxic soup that is leading to the question. It's not a matter of if we get diabetes, it's a matter of when. All of us know somebody that is fighting diabetes, whether it's a child, it's a parent, it's a friend. We collectively have to come together as a community to figure out a way where we can slow down this scourge, this proliferation of diabetes mellitus. And here today, I have a special guest with me in the person of Dr. Vickley Horsley. Welcome, Dr. Victor.
Thank you, Brother Jamal.
Welcome to A New Day and New Life.
All right.
And ladies and gentlemen, as I introduce him, I want to say that he's a great elder to me. And, we sit down and we powwow. And I'm really impressed with the work that he's been doing in the field of diabetes. And without further ado, I want to let him explain himself to you and let him show you what he's been facing in the Bahamas and how he's contributing in the fight against diabetes. Dr. Victor?
My main purpose of coming to Nassau, Bahamas was to help Dr. Danny Johnson fight the good fight against amputations in the diabetic population. You had mentioned that 22 deaths per 100,000 people with diabetes, and if there's 350,000, that's about 70 deaths per year. But the main thing we're trying to fight is the amputation epidemic. This epidemic of amputations is the highest on planet Earth. 987 amputations per 100,000 people in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean. And per 100,000 people with 350,000 people, we're talking about 3,500 amputations per year right here in Nassau of our diabetic, with the most popular amputation being that of the big toe.
Wow.
There's an amputation worldwide every 20 seconds. Every 20 seconds. And it's going down to 19 seconds, 18 seconds. And we're trying to see if we can get an amputation every 21 seconds, every 25 seconds, every minute, maybe every 5 minutes. We want to, Dr. Danny Johnson at Foot and Ankle International and I, our main goal is to decrease the amputation rate by 50% in 5 years. That's our goal.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm here. I'm going to try to work in the Caribbean. Barbados is the worst in the Caribbean. And let's say, for example, Brazil, 187 amputations per 100,000 diabetics. And here it's almost 1,000 amputations. So there's some difference that's being made in Brazil. In the United States, it's 550 amputations per 100,000. In the UK, it's probably 400. So why is the Caribbean like that?
I want you to talk about, because I've seen persons, you may start, as you say, the big toe is, is by far the most popular
Right.
amputation. But I've seen persons that start with the big toe, then the rest of the toes, then it spreads up, and then the knee, gangrene kick, and then the knee have to be removed, and they're in a wheelchair, and you see them with one foot off from the knee down, and then eventually the other feet come off. Obviously, the diabetes is progressing, and obviously, it seems as if there's no way to stem or to eliminate the surgery of amputation. What is your concern in that, and how would you advise patients so that that have the big toe, they can avoid getting their knee amputated?
What I've been trying to do is to reach the pharmacies and the medical doctors and the healthcare personnel, because the most common factor in all amputations is polyneuropathies. And there's mononeuropathies, there are polyneuropathies, and people say, polyneu what? Well, it's polyneuropathy. And polyneuropathies is a nerve condition. And the deterioration of nerves is caused by the lack of vitamin B in the system. There are 2 vitamins that are water soluble, and the other 4 are fat soluble.
Yes.
And your 2 water soluble, one happens to be vitamin B, the other vitamin C, and we constantly urinate them out. So we need a constant supply of, one, fresh vitamin B that you facilitate in both of your locations with the proper foods and the proper grains. And the other would be it may be a medication that someone can take to help reverse polyneuropathies. But what causes the depletion of vitamin B? The gold standard of treatment for diabetes is metformin. Now they have a Janumet.
Yes, glucophage,
Right.
all that different stuff, yeah.
A lot of these medications systematically deplete you, or just deplete one, of vitamin B. Even though it lowers your blood sugar, makes your numbers look better, then a B complex doesn't do the job, because diabetics can urinate up to 30 times a day.
That's right, yeah.
And you're always urinating out your vitamin B, even if you're taking a vitamin B complex, because it's water soluble. If you could take a synthetic vitamin B called benfotiamine, this synthetic, and it's been synthesized 50 years ago by the Japanese, and it is documented proof, research, and journals, the fact that benfotiamine is the only vitamin B supplement that can reverse polyneuropathies, and by reversing polyneuropathies, we can decrease the amputation rate in the Caribbean, which is on the rise.
How can they get this?
Well, there are a few pharmacies available. I have Nuremedy is a medication that has benfotiamine in it, like People's Pharmacy, the Traveling Pharmacist, McClinton's Pharmacy, and Lifeline Pharmacy on West Bay Street. They have invested in Nuremedy, and this Nuremedy is a medication with the synthetic vitamin B1 or benfotiamine, and when their patients call or clients call and say, I'm having burning, tingling, numbness, bee stings, I can't sleep at night. I'm okay during the day, but as soon as I get home, take my shoes off, maybe eat and go to bed, my feet catch fire. That's polyneuropathies. And the main problem with polyneuropathies is that it makes your feet numb. And when your feet are numb, you don't know if there's an injury to your foot.
That's right. Yeah, we had a gentleman that he stepped on a nail.
Yes.
And his feet was, he had a trail of blood all day. He went into his friend's store, and the blood had already turned hard on his jean pants. And, you know, he almost passed out the amount of blood that he had out of him. He didn't even know. And he told me when he go in the shower, he would put the shower on steaming hot, and he couldn't feel anything.
Right.
And so, you know, we were able to save his leg through nutrition. But I'm saying there's not just one way, there are many different ways, but you have to look at how it's self-inflicted through ignorance, how we are harming ourselves. You don't develop polyneuropathy or diabetes if you're not born with it through type 1 diabetes, through a genetic disposition. You are not born with the lifestyle. And so we are saying today, if you were to change your lifestyle, even if it's incremental deduction, but if you begin the process of changing your lifestyle, cut out all of the bad, simple carbs, biscuits and cookies and sweets and sodas and all of the sugary stuff, and then eating late in the night, not giving your body time to metabolize, and your body needs to reset. It needs to recharge. It needs to rebuild, reanimate, regenerate. It can't do so if you're eating a 3-course meal, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't work like that. You have to rest, and then you have to exercise. You have to be active. I'm an Advent fitness guru. I love the fitness. I love the exercise. I love to be active. And Doc always in the gym. Do you see how young he look? If I tell you his age, you smile. And that's what it's about. So, Doc, let's talk about some of your concerns as relates to the Bahamas, our culture. What have you seen that concerns you?
What I've noticed is that people are eating the wrong oils. They're cooking with the wrong oils. I'm going to call them bad oils. Yes. We call them PUFAs, P-U-F-A-S, polyunsaturated fatty acids.
Yes.
And once you heat, let's say, a good oil and you overheat it, it becomes a PUFA. And these oils are the first to get into our system and the first to get into the cells. And once these bad oils are in the cell actually rejects insulin. And therefore the glucose can't get out of the blood into the cell, which it's supposed to do, get into the mitochondria and produce what they call ATPs, which are the powerhouse or the energy sources in each cell. So if we could get people to stop eating bad oils, that would be a good start. How do we get people to stop eating the wrong oils? How do we stop? Oh, I cook with olive oil. Well, eat, don't heat olive oil.
I love it.
If you could. And because
Yes.
when you heat it, you get a double carbon bond to replace a single carbon bond, and it actually becomes very lethal for our system.
You know, I had a whole show, my previous show, 2 shows ago. Mm-hmm. The show was about white sugar, white flour, and white oils. We had a whole show talking exactly what you just said about oil. And the thing about it is, you know, oil is so complex, and but it's fragile because the life force is so potent. When oil is expelled from its source, and even if it's in an opaque bottle, it's packaged properly, and it gets to the consumer in a safe way, and you heat that oil 220 degrees, it becomes toxic, and a lot of free radicals is released. Mm-hmm. And also, if that oil is processed or refined in a way where it's overheated of 475 degrees Fahrenheit, it kills the beta-carotene, it kills the vitamin E content, And natural oil with essential fatty acids, with the essential nutrients, they have a lot of free radicals. But the free radicals is of no significance because it's immediately neutralized by the strong presence of vitamin E and beta-carotene, which are powerhouse antioxidant. So when you strip that away and only the free radicals are there, then you're setting yourself up for cancer, uncontrolled mitosis. So, Doc, we are on the same page as relates to the oil. Right. And we see that diabetes, which we want to focus on today, diabetes is not a coincidence. It's not happening because of bad luck. I come from a family, my father had diabetes, my mom had diabetes, so I'm going to inevitably get diabetes, irregardless of what I eat. What you say on that?
Well, it turns out diabetes isn't as genetic as much as it is dietetic.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, and people are killing themselves right at the dinner plate, as you and I know, with processed food, processed oils.
And dairy.
Dairy, they say, I heard you mention that maybe it's genetic, this type 1 diabetes. Oh, my child is only 1 or 2 or 3 and now has type 1 diabetes. Maybe it's genetic. Well, maybe it's not genetic. Maybe it's the casein, the milk protein, that has caused that diabetes, and more than maybe. Also, you mentioned about the oils. If you have a wedge press, you can press cottonseed, grape seeds,
mechanically
get the oil out.
Yes.
But if you use hexane, which is a gasoline product, which is what they use, hexane. I always ask people, what vegetables are in vegetable oil?
Good question. Petroleum.
Right. Petroleum.
Yes.
That's about the best thing.
Yes.
Soybeans, and that's a legume. It's not a vegetable. When I think vegetables, I think of a salad. I think of broccoli, carrots, etc.
That's right.
There are no vegetables in vegetable oil, so why don't they call it that?
Yes.
But they're tricking the consumer because you're thinking it's vegetable oil and it's good to cook in. But this vegetable oil not only is a reverse gasoline product, when you heat it, it turns into dangerously toxic oil that will compete for the receptors for insulin of every cell in the body and will not let the insulin enter the cell.
Yes.
And therefore it disrupts the whole process, causing diabetes and high blood sugar.
And scientists have shown that these oils, when you reheat them, it becomes so toxic. And I know some institutes, some fast food facilities, I have someone who worked at one of those institutes told me that sometimes they don't change the oil for 2 months. The only way they change the oil if the oil burns or if the oil swings. So they keep filtering the oils. And so it's reheated. And research have shown that these oils, when reheated, they produce so much toxins that science and researchers are way behind in terms of figuring out what disease is linked, because it changes every time you reheat the oil. And it's very, very dangerous. Not to mention that these oil has now become super saturated, meaning at room temperature.
Polyunsaturated.
They become gel. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a serious plight in the country when we see the level of ignorance as relates to nutrition and health, and people are putting gasoline on the fire, so to speak, with their health. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Dr. Victor Horsley as we discuss diabetes mellitus in the Bahamas.